So the goal of our project is to essentially show the user that all of these different random categories that we've chosen are actually interestingly correlated. So we've chosen 7 different categories: finances, network connectivity, quality of life, sustainability, energy, weather, and population, to essentially see how these might be correlated, because we plan to build a web application using Node.js, TypeScript, and PostgreSQL on the back end, and then we will use React on the front end. And essentially we will display probably a graph between probably 2 of these different categories, and the user can choose which to and perhaps switch between them to see what the correlations might be between 2 of them at a time. And it'll probably be a graph probably a line graph, that way we can see the change over time, since we have the year for all the data. We have the nation and the year. So we could also see potentially some information, some visualization on the nation as well. So the categories that we have here are, in finances, we have some subcategories, because we had like 2 or 3 which were tables that we pulled from Gapminder, and Gapminder is a website where we can download free data as a CSV file, and then we'll have to obviously pre-process it in order for us to use it in PostgreSQL. But yeah, we have purchasing power parity, unemployment and Gini coefficient for finances, percent internet users, and the number of total cellular subscriptions for network connectivity, death of 5-year-olds, and basic sanitation usage for quality of life, the number of trees removed from a forest, and yearly CO2 emissions for sustainability. And then we have nuclear electricity production in tow, and sustainability development index, as well as gas prices for energy. And then we have the extreme heat affected people, and the average global temperatures for weather. And we were interested to see population as well, like the general population, as well as perhaps the 5-year-old population, since we are looking at specifically the death of 5-year-olds. So we also have 2 entities here, because these are all relations. All of our categories are relations between nation and year, which are our 2 entities. Because all of our data should have a nation and a year. So we're curious to see, obviously on the back end, we'll have these implemented as relations, where all the categories are relations, but on the front end, we're really going to be looking at the relations between these different categories, which themselves are relations. Because we thought that we could have connected these entities as like maybe a 7-ary relation with all these 7 categories connected to one another with a relation, but that would be super complicated, because we knew that even ternary relations were complicated with having to have 3 different keys. So this would have to have 7 different keys, and we thought that maybe just using nation and year as the 2 entities that are related through all of these different subcategories, that would be much simpler and would make a lot more sense implementation-wise. So what we have for year is a year key, which is probably just going to be the year itself, because we're dealing with data that is in the common era, so we shouldn't have any ambiguity there. And for the nation, we have a nation key that we will assign each nation, and we have the name, which will obviously come with the data. So yeah, the idea is to show the user how all these different interesting things are related, and hopefully it will be interesting to see how that plays out.